All right, what's going on, guys? Farzin Vasugian here with you for this edition of the Chiefs Zone podcast. Hope you're all having a great weekend. Appreciate you guys all watching live on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, wherever it is you're watching live, or if you're catching the podcast later on any of the archive versions, appreciate you guys as well. It's going to be a shorter podcast today as we are joined by former Kansas City Chiefs wide receiver and Super Bowl champion Gehrig Dieter, joining us back on here on the Chiefs Zone podcast. Gehrig, thank you so much for joining us once again. How are you, sir?
Doing well. How about yourself?
Good, man. Good. Appreciate you coming back. We got a lot of things to go over with you. I know you got a big charity event coming up, teaming up with Noah Gray. Obviously, I want to pick your brain and touch on some Kansas City Chiefs football as they've wrapped up mandatory minicamp and getting ready for training camp. But I've got to ask, how does it feel for the Yankees to snap that losing streak?
Feels pretty damn good. I'll tell you that. It was they did this last year, same month, June. They went through the crazy stretch of, I think they lost, I want to say last year they lost, I'm just throwing this out there, probably like 15 out of 22 games or something like that.
Oh,
they had the worst record in the bigs for a month straight. And I watch every game. So if it's if the offense is not scoring and they're going 0-1, 0-2, and they're not playing situational baseball when they're not hitting, man, it's a tough watch. I'll tell you that.
Poor Yankees, man. The suffering they deal with.
It's bad. It's bad news. Bad news. I can't imagine how it feels to I can't imagine being a Rockies fan or somebody that's actually struggling big time because I'm too invested in it.
I was there for Jack Caglione's debut, and I know you were there with Patrick, Chris Oladonga, and a couple of the other guys. I'm not a big baseball follower, but I've always been aware of Aaron Judge and everything he does. I did not realize how huge he was, in person.
Yeah, him and Stanton, they could walk on the football field and not look any different from the rest of the guys. I think those are the only two. There's probably a few others, but those two look like football players. He's full. I mean, he's at least 6'7", and he's a good 275 pounds, probably, if I had to guess.
Yeah,
he's a big dude.
All right, well, we'll see what happens with your Yankees moving forward. Hopefully, the Royals can find some consistency. That's been an issue, but
yep,
they're trying to right the ship for now. Listen, you got a lot of cool things going on right now. You and Noah Gray are teaming up, and I know in the past you guys have done charity softball events and some other things. Unfortunately, with the business of the NFL, when a player moves on to another team, their charity and their charity events move on as well. But you and Noah Gray are trying to start something different this year. Yeah. You guys are doing the charity pickleball event. This is going to take place at Chicken and Pickle. This is going to be at the North Kansas City location. This is going to be Thursday, July the 17th. Talk about how this came together and the cause to help some other charities that you guys are trying to get out there.
Yeah, no, me and Noah, he's a pickleball lover, as am I. So we've been trying to figure out something to do on a charity component with pickleball. So obviously working with Cole and Team Lammy, the softball game this year is no longer a go. So we wanted to pivot, and pickleball is kind of the new thing in terms of charity events. So it will be a fun environment. Like I said, Noah's a big time pickleball guy. We're good buddies, so it's something that we've talked about in the past, and it's just kind of good timing with the softball deal. So my charity of choice is Variety Kansas City. They're a group that helps kids of all abilities get the correct resources in their hands, whatever it may be. Our daughter has autism, so they provided her with a communication device, so she's nonverbal. So that's obviously makes our lives easier at home, just being able to know when she's frustrated, what's wrong type thing. So they've been a big help, and every single park, it feels like, in Kansas City has a Variety KC communication board at the park. So they're just a great Kansas City-based charity that does so much work in this community. Two families that really need it. We're obviously lucky with Coco with how she can communicate with us, but some situations are tougher, and Variety Kansas City provides any resource that they can provide to make the parents and the families' lives easier. So it's a great charity. They do a lot of work, like I said, in Kansas City. So definitely excited to have my proceeds go to them. And then Noah's charity is MoCan Border Collie Rescue. He's got a couple Border Collies at home. So obviously another personal charity to him, helping out animals, the ones that can't obviously help themselves. So again, we're definitely excited to team up on this. I'll definitely be playing. It's a little close to camp, so I think Noah's undecided if he's going to actually play in the tournament. But
understandable.
Yeah, we'll be out there for entertainment purposes. I'm trying to get Sherm to come out and play in a wrestling singlet, so we'll try to make this thing quite the show.
And by the way, to go back to your cause for the charity with special needs, I used to for 1 year in college, I spent a semester as like an assistant, kind of helping kids with special needs. So I certainly understand the struggles with that and what kids go through. So I think it's really cool you're doing that. I don't know if you're a big Survivor fan, but there was a contestant who competed with autism. She actually, well, spoiler alert, made it to the end, and It was a really good season, and it was really cool to see. For those who are watching on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, we have it on the screen right now. There's a QR code right in the middle right there. Scan it. If you're watching from your phone, just take a screenshot of it. Go to your photo album, put your thumb over the QR code for about 2 seconds, and the link will come up there. So you guys can scan the QR code. For those listening on the audio version, it is KansasCityCharityPickleball.com. Again, KansasCityCharityPickleball.com. There are different tickets you can purchase. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, people can buy tickets to compete in this tournament. It's not just, players, former players. Anyone can take part in this. Is that correct?
Yeah. It's a limited team. So there's 36 teams. And yeah, it'll be a full-on pickleball tournament once we get all those signups, and there'll be a couple celebrity teams. Like I said, Sherm, he's playing for sure. I'm really trying to convince him with the wrestling singlet, the one he wore to camp a few years ago. So
I remember that.
That'd be pretty funny in itself. Blake Bell, just a couple former teammates. So it'll be a good time. Like I said, 36 teams. May the best man win. It'll be a fun competitive tournament, I think.
Yeah, what do the winners win? Is it bragging rights, or is there any prizes involved?
Yeah, we're working on some prizes right now, something worthwhile. So stay tuned. Stay tuned to our social medias. We'll announce something here in the next couple of weeks. But whoever wins will get something worth their while. That's for sure.
And what is your social media, in case anyone doesn't know here?
Yeah, at Gehrig Dieter. Super easy. Just at and then GEHRIG DIETER. Okay.
Perfect. Fair enough. Looking forward to that. That is going to be July the 17th, 5 to 9 at the North Kansas City Chicken and Pickle location there. Very excited. Definitely looking forward to that. Gehrig, I did want to talk about the Chiefs right now, obviously coming off that Super Bowl loss and trying to turn things around, get the season going. I do want to go back to the draft, because I think going into it, you weren't exactly sure what the Chiefs were going to do. Certainly, they had some position groups in mind here. They really worked on the trenches in this one, getting Josh Simmons, getting Omar Norman-Lott, getting Ashton Gelati, a lot of good players on that front right there for offensive and defensive lines. I'm curious what your takeaway was from the Chiefs and what they did in this draft.
Yeah, I think it's a productive draft. Obviously, you never know until the season starts and you see how these guys kind of pan out and fit into the team. But on paper, it looks like a good draft. I think they got a lot of value. And obviously, Josh Simmons, late in the first round, who's probably a top 10, 15 talent. I'm a big fan of Gelati, just seeing him when I was at coaching rookie minicamp. The effort he played with, the attitude he had, it was all the things that you want to see out of a young guy. So I think he's going to provide a lot of juice to that D-line. He plays with the fire lit every single time. So it'll be fun to watch him play, and I think he can make an impact pretty quick. And then I think Brashard Smith, obviously getting drafted pretty late, I think he provides a unique skill set to the running back room that they just haven't had in the past couple of years. I think since McKinnon's gone, I think that was the last guy to me that's like a true threat out of the backfield for a pass catcher. So it'll be fun to see how they utilize him. And then obviously I think kickoff return this year will be a lot more interesting outside of just touchbacks every single time. So I think you could see him make an impact there too.
Oh, by the way, I completely forgot. I'm glad you brought this up. You mentioned that you were out there for minicamp. You were a coaching intern this offseason. Is that correct?
Yeah. This is my second year doing the rookie mini camp. It's like a perfect storm for coaching because it's not a full commitment. You're there for 2.5, 3 days, and there's a lot of value that I can provide in those 2.5, 3 days, just with the receiver standpoint, just kind of the small tips and tricks of kind of getting in and out of the huddle, the little things to do all these little things right, and just kind of give them the best advice I can give them to compete at the end of the day. Rookie minicamp's tough because it is so one, it's very quick, so you have to prove yourself to a degree, but you can't obviously do that without the mental side of football. So I tried to insert myself as best I could with those guys, and I really enjoy that short burst of coaching. It's really fun for me to get back in the building, be around the coaches, be around the players, and just be around the game at the highest level.
I can't remember if you, Patrick, and Kareem were on the team, but I know Mike Vick was a coaching intern. Was that when you were on the team?
Yeah, he came training camp. I think was that Pat's first year?
I want to say 17 or 18.
Yeah, I think 17. I want to say Alex was there. Yeah, I remember that.
Okay. Yeah, very cool. So what are you wanting to do with that? Are you wanting to get into the coaching world full time, or do you have any plans with that?
Right now, no, I don't think so. Not at the moment, full time. Okay. I train kids. I train a few high school kids, a couple college kids, and a couple kids a little bit younger. Obviously, I work at Chicken and Pickle on the corporate level, and then obviously having 3 young daughters, I love being home and being available to them. And with coaching, you can't really be 1 foot in, 1 foot out. It's a full commitment. And right now, where we are in our lives, it's just not ideal for our situation. So I like to kind of stay around the game as best I can to stay relevant in that regard. That if something ever did pop up, that maybe their opportunity would be there. But right now, we're loving our lives with how we can be parents to our kids and be home a good amount of time.
No, I understand that because, if you're a coach in the NFL, it is a lot of hours to my understanding. In fact, I remember Kevin Harlan, I was driving, listening to Monday Night Football on the radio, and he had said that, a lot of coaches, because they work a lot of hours when they're driving home during Monday night or any primetime game, they'll sometimes turn on Westwood One and listen to Kevin Harlan. So he was shouting at all the coaches. My point is, they work a lot of hours. It's a lot.
Yeah, it's like I said, there's no way to go about it other than being fully committed. So right now it's just not ideal for me. I do love coach. I love to coach. And I love to coach these high school kids and middle school kids, a couple college kids. And it's enjoyable for me still to be around the game, but just not be fully committed in that regard.
To go back to the draft, listen, I think a lot of Chiefs fans maybe don't want to acknowledge this as much, but we've kind of learned over the years you can't keep everyone. I mean, and the Chiefs have done a great job of drafting well, bringing in free agents. It's a good problem to have when you have so many players just playing very well, but you can't keep everyone. We saw that with Tyreek Hill. We saw that with Joe Thuney this offseason, L'Jarius Sneed last offseason. But Brett Veach and his staff always find a way in terms of roster construction. They always find a way to put the best talent out there. As a former player and as someone that's now watching from the outside and obviously from the inside a little bit as a coaching intern, how impressed are you with the job that Brett Veach has done? Like how does Brett Veach do this?
Yeah, I think it's a tough job because you never really know how guys are going to actually fit until they get there. And like I said, the mental side of football is the side that 99% of the guys that walk through the door are the most elite athletes in the world. It's kind of how can you separate yourself mentally, especially if you're not a Tyreek Hill of the world. If you're anybody outside of a superstar, you have to have that mental side of the game down. And that's one thing I always look at is how fast can a guy get in there and learn the offense? How fast can they move positions? Can they recoup what a coach is telling them? Are they making the same mistake over and over? Can they hear a coaching point and next time they don't make that mistake? Those are like the little things that coaches look for, and obviously scouts look for. And yeah, like you said, he's done a great job with draft picks and guys. And obviously you're never going to be 100%. There's always a few that just don't fit or whatever reason didn't work out. So you win some, you lose some. You just want to win more than you lose. And I think he's done a really good job of finding those guys that fit, one, in the culture, and then two, just as football players.
Well, we had the big news on Thursday. That was the last day of mandatory minicamp, and Andy Reid in his press conference mentioned that both Rashee Rice and rookie left tackle Josh Simmons, they're going to be a full go for training camp. I think a lot of people, more so with Simmons, I think was the concern whether or not he'd be available for day one of the regular season, but they're both going to be ready to go in the regular season. And I was listening to, oh boy, who was it? I think it was Lagarde Douzable. He mentioned this on SiriusXM. He called it monumental, the fact that these two are available, especially Josh Simmons. What was your reaction when you found out that those two were both fully healthy? They made a full recovery and they're going to be 100% full participants for training camp.
Yeah, it's huge. Obviously, you don't want to go into training camp injured. So if they're both feeling 100%, that's awesome for the Chiefs. The more reps you can get, especially for Josh Simmons, the better. Obviously, as a first-round pick, more than likely he's going to be starting out there right away. So for him, the more reps, the more value that you can kind of provide to Coach Reid. So I think obviously you want to see him be able to compete at a high level, and with any injury, no matter who you are in the NFL, if you're not 100%, you're going to struggle a little bit. So it's good. It's good to hear that he is 100%. And same with Rashee. Obviously, you want to see him go back to the level that he was playing at before he got hurt. So hopefully we see that level out of him. I think that's going to open up a lot of things with the Chiefs offense this year if he can stay healthy and stay on the field.
Yeah, that wide receiver room is really interesting to me. I know with Rice, he's got his court date next week. He's got a suspension that's kind of up in the air. We don't know if it's going to come this year or next year. But, and I don't think it's going to be a big suspension like some people think, but neither here nor there. The point I'm trying to make with the wide receiver room is you have Rice, you have Hollywood Brown, you have Xavier Worthy, who's coming off a rookie season. A year ago this time, I mean, all the hype surrounded those three guys in the offseason. Unfortunately, we never really saw that trio come to fruition, and I was pretty excited that they brought back Hollywood Brown because to have another opportunity for this. I know a lot of things need to work on that offensive line, and we've kind of alluded to that already, but when you hear this wide receiver trio coming back, what do you think in terms of Patrick Mahomes having all of those speedsters to work with?
Yeah, I think as a group of three, I think it's hard to find another group of three that is better in the NFL than those three. So obviously, I think Xavier did a good job stepping up at the end of the season last year. It wasn't much route running, but it was a lot of just making plays, and that's what they needed him to do. So I think between him, obviously we know what Rashid is, and we'll see what Hollywood can do. I'm a Hollywood fan, so I want to see him kind of take that next step to be that number two receiver, like a complete number two that's a threat down the field, makes big plays left and right. And then obviously Rashid would be the chain mover. And then I think Xavier could take the top off and make plays behind the line of scrimmage. So yeah, they're a very dynamic group. I think they're all good at something different, which is unique for receivers. So I think if you can plug and play them, fit them in the offense the right way, I mean, Noah, Kels, and those three are going to be tough to stop. So it comes down to the O-line, and can they protect Pat, and can they do things that are a little bit different, just because you lost Joe Tooney, who's a all-decade guard. So we'll see how Kingsley sits in there. But outside of that, I mean, they're pretty solid on the O-line. Obviously, we want to see what left tackle looks like, but hopefully at left side, sure. And I mean, we saw the Super Bowl. If it's not, it gets exposed. So hopefully it is.
That left guard spot for Kingsley Suamataia, and I know there was a lot of expectation from him last year. I've kind of compared his size to some of the other guards that have played for the Chiefs over the last 15, 20 years, just to kind of get a better sample size. It seems like he's similar or maybe bigger. Is it possible that left tackle was just too fast for him and that maybe he's better suited as a left guard with his size and stature?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, you look at the NFL these days, DNs are running 4.5s, 4.6 40s, and at the same time, they're still big and strong. So sometimes it just doesn't translate position-wise in the NFL, and that's where Coach Reed and Coach Heck come in and let's try to move this guy around to fit him in. Obviously, he's a talented player. Let's see if he can play this position at a high level. And I think that's what they're going to at least experiment with. And we'll be able to tell pretty quickly with obviously having a guy like Chris Jones on the opposite side that can give you the look. That's the best defensive lineman in the NFL. So it'll be interesting. I think there'll be a lot of battles in camp for those two competing against each other. But there's no better player to go against. And I think that's why Coach Reed and Coach Heck are probably pretty excited till once camp starts to see what he actually can do against like I said, the best interior D lineman in football.
I was talking to Wayne Simeon once, who had a phenomenal career at KU. And I asked him, I said, I remember when you got drafted, you got to go play for the Miami Heat with Shaq. And I think that was the first year Shaq got traded to the Heat. And I said, what was that like? And he goes, it was a lot of fun until I had to guard him in practice. I'm like, yeah, I can understand that. Yeah. But yeah, no, you're right. That is definitely a good guy to learn from when you're going up against someone like that for Kingsley. I do want to go back to the wide receiver room because it is a really interesting group of wide receivers this year. We mentioned the trio already. Juju is going to be an important part of the depth. I think Jalen Royals, I see a lot in him, so I'm sure he'll stick around for sure. Nico Remigio, I know, has been a good part of special teams, so I think he'll end up making it, assuming it's going to be 7 wide receivers again. You have Sky Moore, you have Justin Ross, you have Tyquan Thornton. Thornton, I know, has that speed and a good skill set, but can he do some of the other things that's expected from a wide receiver? Justin Ross, I know he came in here with a lot of hype, but we haven't really seen that come to fruition. And Sky Moore, his progression has certainly been slow. I'm wondering, between the three of them, who do you think has the best shot of making the team?
Yeah, I think out of those three, I don't know much out of I always forget his name.
Tyquan Thornton.
Tyquan Thornton. They say he's super fast. I think with his position, is he going to be able to learn all 3 receiver spots as a 5th, 6th, 7th receiver? That's what you have to do. That's what you're asked to do, is to know any spot just in case somebody needs a blow or somebody gets hurt, that you can step in and not miss a beat in terms of the playbook. And that's a big challenge within itself. So we'll see. On the mental side, I think you can get a good idea from camp on if he's picking it up or not, if he's getting those first team reps as kind of the first backup. Is he with the 2s, with the 3s? And then out of the rest, I mean, it's going to come down to special teams. Who's going to provide the most value out of those 3? I mean, I don't necessarily know. I haven't seen Justin Ross play much special teams. Same with Sky Moore outside of returning, and I don't think he's a better returner than Nico. So I think I said in an interview the other day, I think the best thing for Sky would be for himself would be to get let go now and try to make it on another team. So I just don't think, and the way I explained it is, with the Chiefs, you kind of get put into what's the word? Kind of get put in not a box, but once you're like I was a practice squad guy, and no matter what I did during camp, no matter how good I performed, whatever, it was always okay. He's still probably just a practice squad guy, and that's kind of what I feel like with Sky. It's like, okay, he's been here this is his 4th year. Hasn't done much production-wise. He's had the opportunities to play. Hasn't done much with it. And I think he's got put into a box where, okay, he's probably on the outside looking in this year. So for me, I would be like, I would want the opportunity to go play in a different offense. I think Sky's talented. I think he could play in the NFL, obviously being a 2nd-round pick, but I just don't think it's here in Kansas City. I think Thornton probably could be a gunner. Just looking at him, his speed, obviously that's going to be a threat for Tobe to mess around with. And I think Xavier is probably going to be the punt returner, it sounds like, if Rashid doesn't miss any time. And then Nico's your best bet after that. So I think it's a weird room outside of the 5 kind of guaranteed guys. I think 6, 7, if they even keep 7 this year, I think they have an interesting move to make with running back. I think the running back room is a little bit. I think it's even more of a competition in that room, just with the dynamics that they have. So I'm interested to see kind of how it plays out, but it'll be fun to watch, because I think special teams this year, more than last, is going to be a bigger factor when it comes to roster positions.
I did want to ask you about the defense, because I mean, they've been so good these last couple of years. You lose Treshawn Wharton and Justin Reed this year. Last year, we mentioned earlier the loss of L'Jarius Sneed, trading him away. They brought back Mike Edwards, who I thought was underrated a couple of years ago, and provided good depth. They signed Christian Fulton. They drafted Noel Williams, who, if I'm not mistaken, had more interceptions than any defender in college football last year. And then they have those two rookie defensive linemen. I know you mentioned your thoughts on Ashton Gelati. There's nothing but positive things to say about Spags and the job he does. We know what Chris Jones is capable of. George Karlaftis is getting better and better. What are your expectations from the defense? Because when I look at the offense and the potential improvement that it could make, and if the defense stays the same, I think this might be the first time in the Patrick Mahomes era we might actually see a balance, like a really good offense and a really good defense.
Yeah, I think that's what makes Spags so special, is that he can plug and play almost any player into his defense, as long as they can pick up the mental side of football. And I think Jaden Hicks will do a good job stepping into Justin Reed's spot. I think he adds a little bit more athleticism, a little bit more playmaking. I think Justin was great in the box and tackling as a sure tackler, but I think Jaden, obviously provides a little bit more athleticism. So excited to see him play. He's a smart kid and a good kid, so I'm excited to see him play a little bit. Like I mentioned earlier, Gelati, he's just got the right attitude, and I think that's half the battle as a D lineman is the effort side, and I think that's what Wharton had as a D lineman, playing with that fire every single play, never getting tired, because that's what separates those type of guys. That's why he got a huge contract going to Carolina. It's because he could play every play 100%, not taking plays off, and that's what you want outside of Chris Jones. I think Chris can turn it on when he wants to. And I think that's what makes him special, when he can turn it on, because when he does turn it on, nobody can touch him. So having somebody on the other side that's going to play 100% effort every single play is something that's super important. And like I said earlier, with Spags' defense, as long as Nick Bolton is in there calling the shots, you can kind of plug and play almost anybody. I think he does a phenomenal job of getting guys lined up, knowing the situations, knowing what's going on. And yeah, as long as he's out there, I feel comfortable with the defense.
I was pleasantly surprised they brought back Nick Bolton. I was concerned about him. Getting Chris Jones last year and Nick Bolton this year, I mean, that's huge for that defense.
Yeah, like I said, Nick is you look at what he's done in his short career. He's extremely smart. Spags obviously values him at a very high level. When you have somebody like that, you want to keep him around that, like I said, knows every single position on the defensive side. It can get guys lined up. If guys have questions, he can answer it quickly, so it doesn't mess anybody up. So he's a guy that you want to keep him. Those two, obviously, Chris was probably the most important piece on that defense, but I would say Nick would be a 1B. I mean, I think the mental side of it that he has, it's a gift.
Man, I know he made some big plays last year. I mean, he was pushing Isaiah Likely out of bounds. Without him, Isaiah Likely probably stays in bounds. And then a couple of weeks later against the Falcons, that 4th and inches play, he just completely blew that. I thought last year might have been his best year with the Chiefs so far.
Yeah, no doubt. I think he's gotten better every single year. He was a rookie my last year there, and he's a very physical guy. Like, I remember being in practice trying to block him. He's smacking my arms down, making it super tough. So he's a guy that makes a great first impression on any football player.
A couple of questions left with you, Gehrig. This just came out about an hour ago on ESPN. They did the all-quarter century team. There are actually a lot of current and former Chiefs on here. Patrick is on here along with Peyton Manning and Tom Brady. I was pleasantly surprised about this one. Priest Holmes is on this list. Wide receiver, I'm actually really surprised Tyreek Hill is not on here. They have Travis Kelce and Tony Gonzalez. No Chiefs offensive linemen. And then on the defensive side, they have Jared Allen. They have Chris Jones. I'm checking through the list. They have Darrell Rivas, who was with the Chiefs for just a few games. And then for coaches, they have Dave Tobe as the special teams coordinator. I'm curious what your thoughts are on those current former Chiefs, and if you think, other than Tyreek, if you think anyone's missing on that list.
Yeah, I was going to say Tyreek would probably be one that deserves to be on that list. Who are the receivers?
The receivers are Randy Moss, Julio Jones, Marvin Harrison, Calvin Johnson, Terrell Owens, and Justin Jefferson.
Yeah, I mean, I would put Tyreek over Justin Jefferson at the moment.
I agree.
Yeah, at the moment. I think that's a cool list to be part of. Who's the head coach?
The head coach is Bill Belichick. Offensive coordinator is Kyle Shanahan, and defensive coordinator is Wade Phillips.
Okay. Well, it's good to see Tobe get some recognition. Obviously, he's been doing it for a long time and has been consistently one of the best special teams unit in football since he's been the coordinator here in KC, and obviously back in Chicago. I'm trying to think of somebody Honey Bat. Yeah, I guess that doesn't make sense. Yeah, Rivas was here for, like you said, a few games. I always thought that was my first year. So going against him in practice was pretty awesome. He's a legend on that side of the ball. So that was a cool moment for me. Chris obviously deserves it. Kels deserves it, no doubt. Pat deserves it. So yeah, outside of Tyreek, I would say I'm trying to think of some O linemen that could potentially be there, but
I'm a little surprised Joe Tooney's not on there.
I was going to say Tooney would be one that you would point to, but
yeah, Tooney and Will Shields.
Yeah, going back, you said quarter, so going back 25 years. I mean, there's a lot of really, really good football players in the last 25 years, so you can kind of pick and choose, and nobody can really be too upset. But it is always a cool honor for those guys to get put on a list like that.
I've got to ask you this because I didn't ask you this the first time you were on, and I've checked out some Chiefs highlights over the years. Just it's off season, memories you like to go back to. And I remember in the AFC Championship game against the Patriots, Julian Edelman came really close to touching that punt return. They determined that he did not touch it, which didn't matter too much because 2 plays later it ended up, oddly enough, going off of his hands for an interception. You did scoop that up and you ran it in for a touchdown. Now, that was a muffed punt. So unless the rule changed that year, to my understanding, on a muffed punt, you can't advance the ball. But CBS went ahead on their graphics. They went ahead and called it a touchdown. Jim Nantz thought it was a touchdown. When they were reviewing it, and it was a really long replay deal, what explanation were you, the coaches, getting as to why you guys were not going to get the football?
Man, like you said, that was probably I feel like the longest review of all time. That thing, it felt like we were out there for 30 minutes waiting for an answer. They didn't really give us any that I remember. They didn't really give us any explanation on it, but I do remember that play like it was yesterday. Obviously, that's like a career moment for me in the NFL. So just playing in the NFC Championship, I went back and was randomly watching it the other day just because I was Tyreek's true backup that game. So I probably played, 12 plays of offense. So got in there and I felt like I did a pretty good job of playing his position. And it's just fun playing football at the end of the day when you can get into a game. And that's the hardest part about being on practice squad is just playing, actually playing full speed, getting tackled, doing all these things that is involved in that you can't replicate in practice. People don't realize how tough the transition from just being on practice squad going to play in a full speed NFL game is, because you don't get those reps in practice, and preseason doesn't replicate the speed that the true starters play with. So that was always one of my biggest hurdles, was just not getting into any rhythm after that second year. The second year I actually did play a good amount. Like I said, Tyreek's actual backup. So I played a good amount of offense and was starting on all the special teams. So that year was a lot of fun for me playing wise. And then kind of as the next few years went about, it was very sporadic on when I got called up. And in those games, it's extremely tough. But the NFC Championship game, that's an all-timer for sure for me.
Yeah, a lot of people are calling it one of the best of all time for sure. I know you've got your partnership with Riga Foods, and for those not familiar, Riga, one of the largest herb and spice importers in the U.S., and they're in the Kansas City area. I think specifically in KCMO.
Yep.
Riga is spelled RIEGA Foods, RigaFoods.com. For those not familiar with it, what is it, and why are you such a big fan of their product?
Yeah, found them late last year during the Kansas City Huddle show. They were a sponsor of the show, and the only thing I cook at home is steak tacos. So I would make my own blend. And once I met Brad and the team from Riga, they introduced me to their carne asada, and I'm like, all right, this is probably a little bit better than mine. So started using it. Partnership formed just because of their values, all organic, clean, easy. Their story is that they created this brand as a husband and wife that had a couple young kids, and they wanted to cook from home, but it takes a lot of work. And for them, they wanted to create something, a product, a brand that kind of fits into that young family that can be on the go, eat clean, provide a great meal that has great flavor. And you said Kansas City based, so it's always fun for me to continue to partner with these Kansas City brands that really want to be in this community because they see how strong it is as a community. So Riga's they're really great people. I've really become friends with them over the last few months, and do a lot of random opportunities. Went on a cooking show, or on the news, did a little cooking segment. That was pretty fun.
Oh yeah,
a couple of weeks ago. That was a little different for me, but stuff like that where you're just out and about and representing the brand. It's a lot of fun for me. I really do enjoy it.
Very cool. RigaFoods.com. Again, it's RIEGA, RigaFoods.com. And one last time, Gehrig, before we get out of here, for those who may have tuned in late to the live stream, you and Noah Gray are teaming up for a Kansas City charity pickleball event. The QR code is right there for you guys. And for those listening to the audio version, Kansas City Charity Pickleball.com. Trying to raise some money for local charities here. Anything you want to talk about with this, in case anyone missed out earlier on in the segment?
Yeah, said earlier, pickleball tournament between Noah and I. We become pretty good friends, and he's a pickleball lover. We played in a few tournaments together, so having the opportunity to put on a charity event that benefits two really awesome charities that are local to Kansas City. Obviously, Variety Kansas City, it will be my charity of choice, and the MoCan Border Collie Rescue will be Noah Gray's charity of choice, and two very personal charities to us. So we're excited to raise some money, have a great event, and just play a lot of good pickleball.
Awesome. Okay, there's a QR code right there. Scan it, get your tickets there if you guys want to take part in it. That QR code will take you straight to the place where you can get your tickets. Hey, Gehrig, thank you so much for coming back on. It's always great talking some football with you. If people want to catch you on social media, how can they follow you?
Yeah, just at Gehrig Dieter. Super easy. X and Instagram. Pretty active. Chiefs Royals fans don't really love my X because it's mostly Yankee stuff, but yeah, it's baseball season. So once football comes around, I'll go all Chiefs. But yeah, I get a lot of heat on Twitter for the Yankee stuff, but it is what it is. It's fun. I enjoy it.
Fair enough. All right. Hey, Gehrig, thank you so much for coming on, man. And we're looking forward to the pickleball event. Until then, take care. Be good. Be well.
See you.
All right. Take care, Gehrig. That is Gehrig Dieter, former Chiefs wide receiver, joining us here on the Chiefs Zone podcast. Appreciate you guys for joining us here on the Chiefs Zone podcast. If you guys enjoyed this podcast, if you guys enjoyed this conversation with Gehrig, let a friend know, share the links, message them, whatever you got to do. Share streams always helps get the word out about these live streams and podcasts, reels, all that good stuff. So share this if you can. Until then, once again, a big thanks to Gehrig Dieter. Until then, I will talk to you all later. Enjoy your weekend. Take care.